Hello, welcome to Spilling the IT. We like to discuss different topics in the tech industry, what's happening, and I'm always joined by Adam Burke because you got to have somebody who knows this stuff on the show. So, Adam, how you doing?
Good, Paul. How's it going? How's it going today?
Good, good weekend. Great start to the week. Yeah, how are you feeling?
It's going all right. It's going okay. Not a lot I can complain about, but so far so good.
Nice, awesome. I uh, I was getting a lot of work done, which felt really great. And then, do you remember the movie The Rocketeer?
Yeah, yeah. Bubblegum and Nazis. Yep, of course.
Yeah, I spent my lunch break watching this great documentary on the Rocketeer and the director, and it's been fantastic. It's a good day. It's a great day.
Yeah, he's going 5Gs, and I think he had some fuel pressure leak, and I think he chewed up some gum to seal up a bullet hole from a Nazi.
Oh man, you remember quite a
Yeah.
bit. You remember a lot.
Even as an 8-year-old, I was like, you know what? I don't think that bubble gum's gonna hold. That
Hmm.
doesn't look like Bubblicious. It doesn't look like it's gonna hold. I just don't think it's gonna, you know, it was like
Well,
old school blackjack.
I
That's not gonna
remember
hold.
I remember your scathing review in the local kindergarten press. Just
Yes.
that you were furious. You were
Yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't work. It
The
can't
toddler
work.
times.
Yeah. Toddler times. Very
You were
good.
just so angry. Be like, Joe Johnson, I'll never again. I'll never trust you again as a director. Uh, but not here to talk about um, the Rocketeer. We're here to talk about app development. So, which is great. So, if it's your first time here, spilling the IT, I was joking before, but also I wasn't. So, I'm Paul. I handle the social media, and that means I don't know a ton about the tech side of Quest. And Adam is here. He's VP of Partners and Sales, and he knows a ton. So it's a great conversation where I learn a lot, and hopefully you learn a little bit as well watching the show. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We're always happy to answer questions from you guys. Or if you watch this later on and you're curious about some app dev questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. We would love to answer them in future shows. So, um, yeah, so that's a long intro. Adam, you want to dive into app dev?
Sure. Sure. So, app dev is one of those fun conversations that I love having with clients and partners because it can go so many different directions. And it really is core to what we do here at Quest as far as, how can we help our partners and our clients? What are they looking for assistance with? And application development is a huge umbrella of different types of services. So at a high level, we can help build applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can help organizations with greenfield application development. And what that means when we're talking about application development is what's the end state they're trying to get to? What building blocks do they want to put in place? And then we basically frame out, what data are they going to use and how they want to present that to their users. So we can do the full documentation, architecture, design type of engagement where we help organizations build custom applications that can live. One of the things we always like to understand is, okay, where is this going to live? Where's the data going to live? Where are your end users going to live? How are they going to access it? And then where is the application going to run? It could run in a private data center. It could run on infrastructure that the client owns and operates, or it can operate in the cloud, right? We can build it in Azure. We can build it in AWS, Google Cloud, wherever they kind of want it to live. We can help with those development projects. Quick side note, I just had a great conversation with a partner earlier this week, and a client. They have a traditional on-premise suite of services. They do graphic rendering and design projects out there, and one of their challenges was that every single application for their users that they onboarded was an individual build, right? They would get a new customer on board that wanted to use them for their graphic design suite and marketing materials and things like that, and they would basically have to build out that same workflow for that client on an individual basis. And they were interested in understanding, okay, if we moved this legacy system that we had, we know the workflow, right? We know where the data lives. We know what we want to, how we want to manipulate it, and we know how we want to present it back to the customer. They had all that diagrammed out, which was fantastic. They wanted to know, okay, how do I optimize that to really have a one-to-many type of service? Because one of the things that's great about software and about application development is you can scale and you can optimize for basically anything from ordering a pizza to, one of the coolest apps out there. Another tangent is
Here's the thing. I think I know what you're gonna say because you mentioned
what?
pizza. Is it involve pizza?
No, no, no. Well, I mentioned pizza.
Oh,
Domino's is pretty cool,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
but
It's a
but
good
it's
app.
not. It's kind of, man. I got good pizza in my neighborhood, and I can't. It's really cool that you order that, but it's like I can't. If Domino's wants to sponsor, love you. But if in case you don't, Chipotle, the Chipotle app.
Yeah, that's
uh,
pretty.
to,
That's
to,
pretty
to
slick.
Chipotle, because that's really just development, right? They're constantly improving that. They're constantly adding new features, new services, getting that cool little, black bean and guacamole, thing to kind of link on there, and then give you a little custom development and pickup time. That's all app dev. That's
I know what
all.
you're talking,
That's all.
Adam. I for this show, I ordered from Chipotle last night. I just wanted to do some research, do a little app dev. It worked perfect, seamless, Adam. It worked seamless. Guacamole, chips, all the things.
You can write that off. You talk to your accountant, write that off. That's research and development for this this show, which is a complete working, operational unit of the company. So
Well, I got a
totally
call
write
to
that
make.
off.
I got a call to make because I pushed the website to its limit with double wraps, guacamole, all the things.
Are you a double wrap guy?
You know, Adam. Sometimes I feel in a double wrap mood. I'm not always because I'll be honest. That's a lot of extra calories. But sometimes, Adam, you just you know I should
You need that security blanket, that extra blanket of security to make sure you're not going to get an intentional blowout.
ex- exactly, Adam. It's like sometimes you got to buy that tire for the experience you're going to take that car on. And I'm like, sometimes I'm just filling that burrito with so much goodness. I got to double wrap it. You know what I mean?
All right. Yep. Yep. I,
It doesn't sound like you
I
know me.
understand.
It sounds like you're not a double wrap man. Let me guess.
I've
You're
never
probably
ordered a double
like
wrap. I've
you're
not ordered a double wrap. I've
okay.
I've never experienced that shame. But but
You seem like a burrito bowl kind of guy.
no, no, no. I'm not straight. No, I'm not strict. I'm not strict anti-carb guy. No, I can do that. We're good. So back to the dev.
Back to the dev.
So the application for something like that is great. So we've built applications. We built applications for mortgage groups. There's a great mortgage organization that does some lending. Have a great customer use study. Maybe we can link that into the comment section.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
a customer success. That'd be a great little reading for anybody who is interested. But we do custom development. Love doing that. Love putting that together. And the previous story we're working on with that customer I was talking before I went on the burrito Domino's tangent. Now I'm hungry. It was they had basically built out the wire diagrams. They just needed some help with architecture and figuring out, okay, how can we how can we streamline things that are constant across every single engagement? Because every customer that they had went through the same process, but there were small nuances that were different at different times in that decision matrix. So we help script that, we help write that, we help evaluate it, and then we help architect the whole thing if needed. So that's always exciting. Those are always fun when we get to build. Um, yeah.
How long does the so you mentioned evaluate, which I think is a really big portion. It's because I mean, writing it is important, but testing it and putting it through its paces and evaluating it. How long does that process usually take? Does that vary, or does there tend to be like a standard amount of time the bugs start to show themselves?
So we do different sprints, and we run an agile process where we can incorporate into basically constant improvement with organizations. So you go through different scrum sessions, different sprints, where we'll put together a team, basically get through a couple different gates, and then you basically start all over and do another sprint. So it's always constant process improvement.
Gotcha.
Organizations that run what's called agile development and run a DevOps team, is basically you're developing your application,
Mm-hmm.
but you're constantly going through process improvements. You're constantly going back, checking the code, making updates. It's a dynamic way of kind of putting those different sprints together. So we got Scrum Masters on our team. I think that's one of the coolest names in IT, by the way, is a Scrum Master. I don't know if it's just because
That sounds.
tough people play rugby and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but Scrum Master is basically herding all the cats and getting everybody pushing the ball the right direction, which is why I'm making that up right now of why it's called that. Completely have no idea why it's called that, but that's what I'm making up.
It sounds like somebody who
Um,
likes playing rugby, but also is into D, and somehow wanted to combine those two worlds. And they're like, "I'm going to be a scrum master." And
could
people are
be,
like, "Yeah,
could
sure,
be.
whatever. Call yourself whatever you want.
Just
Whatever. Just
just
get the
make it
job
just make
done."
the just make the application work. Come on. Make sure the burrito is available and ready for pickup from the Chipotle lane at the right time.
We'll
All right,
call you
there you go.
anything. Just get it done.
So you're absolutely right though, Paul. That testing and evaluating and constant updating is a huge part of the process. So that's one thing that we do is that's the enhancement, right? So if there's an existing application that an organization already has, let's for example, a lot of people use Salesforce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Salesforce is an application that a lot of people use to either support their customer information, their marketing information, or some portion or aspect of managing their business.
Mm-hmm.
We can do enhancements and integrations with other systems that they have to
Mm-hmm.
basically use the data that's in one platform to speak to or present on another, right? So there's databases out there, there's customer information, there's contact information. How do I get that contact information from this database in order to broadcast a message out to everybody to make sure that they know that now they can schedule their burrito pickup within 5 minutes of the time they ordered it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that? You do that with enhancements, you do that with APIs. So you have to do that with different plugins to pull that data from one position and broadcast it or manipulate it for somewhere else. A lot of enhancement is what we do around applications as well.
It sounds like a process that, and I think you mentioned this, like a constant reevaluation. Like it's a very fluid process that's full of change and adaptation.
Constant change,
Yeah.
constant shifting, and constant reevaluating of making sure that you're not creeping away from the initial scope or the initial business outcome that you want to have. It's all about having, okay, what business outcome are we trying to have in regards to our applications, to what we're addressing. Um, some organizations, we did a great project for a company, and their CFO really wanted data visualization around his sales.
Mm-hmm.
He really wanted to see that, okay, at this time of the year, when I hit these different metrics, how can I visualize and present to the board, um, you know, the impact of this decision and how it's affected sales over these following quarters.
Mm-hmm.
That was his outcome. That's what he wanted to see. He wanted to see, I made this decision 4 quarters ago. Show me the progression and the change in my sales based from this point in time and based on that decision. So it's one of those things. Okay, so you go back and you pull the data from all those different following quarters and you present it back in a visual way. You can use things like Tableau or Power BI or Microsoft Suite of Services, all those types of things. I think Tableau got bought by Salesforce for a couple $1 billion, so can't do that integration anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so anyways, that's data visualization projects. People love to see trend lines and things like that. So,
Gotcha.
yep.
Um, so as I went over, I was going over the, our application development page on
Hmm. Yeah.
questsys.com. There was a mention, and maybe this is jumping ahead. So if there's other things you want to talk about before this, let me know. But I was curious.
Let it
Um,
rip.
a legacy application documentation. What
Hmm.
says Quest offers a legacy application documentation service, and how does that tie into app dev?
So people are constantly trying to evaluate, okay, what do I have in place right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then what can I do with it in the future? a lot of companies are built on legacy applications, right? So things that have been out there for a long time, like, there was a huge push for a lot of people needed to update a lot of unemployment records and machines. And I believe it was all based on COBOL databases. And no one codes in COBOL anymore. And so how do we document these legacy unemployment situations that all the different state agencies had around the country when we're trying to document how we push out these unemployment checks to folks? So that's just an example of legacy applications are built on technology that maybe no one's using anymore. And you can't just do the scream test, and just start changing things and seeing what breaks, right? Because that's going to impact the business or impact the organization. So you go through and basically we use tools and we use processes to document, if basically what applications are pulling from what sets of data, how are they interpreting it. There's middleware in there that's basically manipulating that data and presenting it to another application. There's servers in there that relay that. There's a lot of architecture that goes into these kind of behemoths, and some people call it technology debt that an organization might have. So we'll go in there and help them document that, because you can't make a change until you know what you're dealing with, right? You got the, a simple way of putting it is you got the red wire, you got the blue wire, you got the yellow wire. You want to dismantle the bomb, which one are you going to cut? You can take a platform down by making changes in the code or the scripts or the servers that can really impact the business. You don't want to do that. So we do a full documentation of that, because then you can make the decision, okay, what do I need to do to recode this? What do I need to do to move this to the cloud? You can't do that until you have that documentation done.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
So that's where we start. And it kind of along that's kind of some people typically do that before they do an application modernization effort.
Okay.
Or they do it if they're trying to better understand the security vulnerabilities of an application. So we'll do things called like static application security testing. So static.
Sure. I don't know.
So there's a couple different ways to test security on an application. You can look at the actual code that it's written in. You can look for known vulnerabilities. You can kind of pinpoint those and be like, hey, I'm going to butcher this story because I'm really bad at telling stories. But there was a situation. I think it was an Adobe web server that wasn't patched on a certain large credit company's. I think it was Equifax or Equinix. Probably gonna. We won't say a company name. But there was a breach. There was a breach.
Somebody.
And there was some code within that. I believe it was either a vulnerability that was in an Adobe web server, or it was a vulnerability that was discovered because of lack of a patch on an Adobe web server. But it resulted in a lot of people's credit information getting hacked and stolen and kind of pushed out to the dark web. This was a few years ago. And that was something around the idea of, okay, that vulnerability was discovered in the code based on a static review, and then it got put into another application, and it was also flushed out on what's called a dynamic review. So the dynamic review is as applications are functioning, as they're rolling, as they're going forward, you're constantly looking at those from a security perspective and looking for vulnerabilities. So we also do a dynamic review of that. And that's something we do from kind of the security side of the house, but that also kind of is tangent to what we're doing in app dev. So you can do code reviews, you can do dynamic reviews, and then how do you update that and how do you remediate those? That's oftentimes where some firms will use us to plug into their DevOps team. Their DevOps team's going down the road, they're building, they're managing, they're updating. They'll run their code. They'll have us do a code review for them before they ship.
Do a code review for their team and then kind of give the information to the team.
Yeah, so we do a code review on what they've developed and what they've done on that iteration, and then we review it for them, and then basically we give them our feedback and our notes as kind of a third-party auditor, because they're the ones who wrote it, right? So they might not necessarily see it. It's like editing your own email. Which, by the way, if you ever receive an email from me, I apologize in advance. My grammar is terrible, and I need to have other people read my emails before I send them out. Sorry.
You should get
But it,
you should get Grammarly. Do you have Grammarly?
I've heard about Grammarly. It does like a
It saves me.
application. It does it?
Yeah,
Does it
I
work?
mean, this is not a commercial for Grammarly, but I've many times used it and been like, oh, I would have sounded like a moron. Yeah,
We should do a before or after of my emails with Grammarly. And Grammarly, if you'd like to sponsor the podcast, please contact us. Just kidding.
yeah.
At
Domino's,
yeah,
Grammarly, get on it. Chipotle, whatever. Whoever wants to talk to us.
yeah, no, yeah. So um, the third party review of the code
Got it.
and providing feedback around any potential or known vulnerabilities, that type of thing.
Okay, yeah,
So
that sounds invaluable. Um, so, so my question, and maybe people watching this have this question as well. This stuff helps you stay on time, and it can help you stay um, on or under budget. Who is this best for? Like app dev, who could use this? Are you looking at um, like company sizes? What who would best be served by app dev?
So anybody who has a database of customer or users that needs help managing that data. I mean, this can be as simple as working with Quest around managing your SQL database and your database administration and making sure that it's operating efficiently and you have your people and you have them, they can access your customer data quickly and call somebody who needs to be called. It can be as simple as have a couple hundred customers and I need help managing that data set. Everybody who has data, everybody who's touching um, the internet and managing their people on an application can use application development services. It might not be, huge, uh, creation of an application, but there's anybody out there um, who needs help managing data and communicating can leverage application development services. It's
Great.
yeah, there's a guy out there, I think it's from Andreessen. He's, software is going to eat the world. Um, Software is in everything we do. So, developing that software, managing it, helping it integrate with the right tools is certainly something everybody could use some help with from time to time.
Okay, that's helpful. So basically, you got a database and it needs to talk to something else. You could probably use app dev.
Yeah, and just cleaning that stuff up, making sure
Mhm.
it's presented well, making sure it's you know, it's just your presence online, just presenting your, how you present to the world on your website or your, social media. I mean, right now we're using some pretty cool software to broadcast, on YouTube, while at the same time, broadcasting on, I think on Facebook and a few others.
Mhm.
Those are great plugins that we use, and then you can script out how you're going to blast that out to other folks. Um, yeah, someone's got to write the code.
Love it.
So yeah.
Um, I know we're coming up on about a half an hour. Anything else about app dev you kind of want to dive into and talk about for a few minutes?
No, I mean, the only thing I'd say is, like everything we do, we want to make sure we're meeting our customers where they're at, right? So if they need help with security, if they need help with evaluating a legacy system, or just understanding, what resources are going to be required to host the application, whether it's in their data center, ours, or a hyperscaler of their choosing, AWS, Azure, whatever. Um, don't hesitate to reach out. We love to get involved in those. How can we help conversations? They're always business-based outcomes around application development. It's you're trying to achieve something, and those are great opportunities. We'd love to get involved.
Do you ever think certain companies are embarrassed to let us know where they're at, and they kind of like hesitate to reach out because they're like, I don't kind of want to share where we're at. It's kind of an embarrassing thing to reveal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I don't know. That's something I'd struggle with because I don't know. Is it more embarrassing to ask for help, or is it more embarrassing to fail and not have asked for help, or at least reached out and communicated you need some assistance? I don't know. That's a that's a challenge. cynically, sometimes organizations have been annoyed that we've come in and pointed out some areas where there could possibly be some improvement, or maybe they've been struggling with something for like 6 months, and someone from our team who's been in that scenario before and has experience there points out a fix in about a week.
Hmm.
That can, everybody's got an ego, so I'm not going to pretend that people don't have egos, but for the most part, people who bring us in, we help them look very good
That's our
to
goal.
the powers that be, and we help present well. So that you tend to stick around a while in this industry if you help people who bring you into the organization look smart for bringing you into the organization.
There you go. We're here to help.
So.
We're walking around egoless, just trying to help.
I didn't say that. I
Well,
got a huge ego. I don't even know how I got through the door.
I know. I think yes, Adam. You got more of the ego than I do. So no, that's not true. That's not true. I'm full of lies right now. We both have healthy egos. Welcome.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks for watching Spilling the IT. Okay, so real quick, Adam, anything worth watching, worth listening to? Show on Netflix, HBO, Amazon, a podcast, perhaps that's enjoyable. What's happening?
Um, well, I'm listening to a podcast that you probably can only take in chunks. It's called Martyr Made. Um,
Oh, I
it's
think you mentioned this.
did I mention that last time? Okay, so I'm listening to that one still.
Maybe
It's
you
about
did. Okay.
different historical events, but that's a good one. Um, and uh, Bosch on Prime.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah. So getting into the old Bosch series on Prime, which I thought
that's
was like a lame, like Law and Order, like ripoff, like on ABC or some main station. But no, it's a Prime show with the Titus dude, who's kind of a cool actor, and it's not lame, predictable at all. It's kind of more like a Dexter kind of thing. And by the way, Dexter's coming back, which is awesome.
yes, yeah. That
So
looks pretty. I hope. I hope they don't blow that. I hope that's a good show. Um,
yeah,
Bosch, I'll have to check
the
it out.
ser-
It's won a bunch of awards. I remember it winning a lot of awards. So
it's really good. The actor, I forget his last name, is Titus something. Um, but it's really good. At least the first season. So
nice. I've been
yeah.
watching. It's a pretty great documentary. I've been enjoying it. Cocaine Cowboys, which is about.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch it?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying that. I know I'm a few weeks late to that party, but it's really interesting. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. That's about is that the Sinaloan cartel?
I don't know if it's no. It's about was it? I can't. Boy, I'm really guessing not watching it that closely. I can't remember the guys' names, but there's two guys who ran cocaine through Miami and then L.A. in the '80s. Can't remember
Oh,
their names.
with the yeah. Yeah. I I think I know which one you're talking about.
Pitbull does the
So,
theme music. I know Pitbull does the theme music. It's very good.
oh, Miami. You got that going for you.
There you go,
808.
Mr. Worldwide himself.
Mr.
Um,
Worldwide.
well, Adam, anything else? This has been fun. I've learned a lot.
Not today. Not today. I hope everyone's having a good day, and it's been fun, and we'll do another one next week. I think,
Yes,
hey, do we have a special guest? Well, we won't announce a special guest coming up yet, but
we
we're
will.
working on some. We're working on something special.
Something special.
Yeah,
Very soon.
yeah.
That's all we can say.
Leave with a teaser.
All right. See you guys next week. Bye.